morning, Central Texas. Welcome to Kids Community Connections, 103.1 Kids FM. I'm Phyllis Jones, your host for this morning. And you know what? I'm almost getting my weather back. Almost. It was raining. I did a snow dance. Texas didn't understand. So we got rain. So I'm feeling a little bit better, but not so, because I think it's going to be warm again today. But, you know, before I talk to my guest, and you remember it's Eric, he's continuing us from education from last week. But before I want to get into that, Philip Floyd, if you remember his name, he ran for school board last year. But he's doing a school supply drive for the kids in Louisiana because, as we remember, they flooded out. So obviously, not only do they have clothes and everything else that they have, some of the kids are going to school half days, especially the high schools. They're going to school half days, but guess what? They have no school supplies. And if we think about it, there's no way to get any. You know, people are focusing on the food and giving them clothes, which is good. They need the clothes and food, but they also need school supplies when they go to school, because it's nothing worse than sitting in school all day long or half a day and you have nothing. That's really bad. So Philip Floyd is doing a school supply drive, and you could drop off school supplies at any Blades Barbershop location, Exit Home Vets, Yahweh Beauty Academy, which is on 38th Street across from Killeen High School, Breakthrough Nutritions of Killeen, and also Allstate Insurance in Copper's Cove. You can also contact him at 254-226-8941. So, you know, I know we did a lot of school supply drives for Killeen and Copper's Cove and Harker Heights, and everybody's going back to school. I know we did that. But you know what? Somewhere we have something left around. Even if you got a pack of pencils, that's 10 pencils that they didn't have before that you're dropping off. So if you can, you know, call him up, contact him. Also, you can contact him on Facebook. It will be Philip for KISD School Board on Facebook. But you can call him and, like I said, drop off whatever you've got. And I got a bunch of drawstring bags. So every time I go to some of these events, I always pick up drawstring bags, because when kids come to school with no backpack, at least that drawstring bag will last until they get something. So I have a bunch of those, and everywhere I go, I make sure I get them. So I'll be dropping some of those off. But if you can, like I said, remember the kids in Louisiana, and drop off the school supplies. And you can drop off other things also, but right now he's collecting school supplies. I know he left this morning going to Louisiana to take some school supplies that he already has, and he's going to go back again, and he's going to continue going back every weekend until as long as he needs to. So let's help out. Let's dig deep and help some other kids that's going to school as well as we did ours. Now, you know, this week was the first week of school, and for anybody who works in the school district, you know, your first week it's not rough. Your first week is a questioning week, and the questioning is, what am I going to do with all these kids in my class? And the parents are, you know, happy-go-lucky. The kids are in school right now. Well, last week, some of the parents learned some of the things they needed to do. I know one parent contacted me after she was listening to Eric, and she heard it on the website. Because, you know, you can listen to my show on mykiss1031.com and then go under Community Connections, and all my shows are on there. She had been asking the teacher for, what are your plans for the school year? And the teacher was looking at her like, it's a long question, and I'm not understanding what you really want, because that would be hard for the teacher to say, these are my plans for the year, because the teacher doesn't even know what her plans for the year are. So the parent heard Eric say syllabus, and then he explained it. So the mom went to school, and brand new word she has. She asked for a syllabus. The teacher was quite shocked and asked her could she give it to her the next day. And mom graciously said, can you email it to me? I love her for saying that, because that is a tracking record, regardless to what. So I want to encourage a lot of parents, you know, when you have a question for the teacher, email her, because at that point, it can never be said, this is what I said, and because then it becomes a he said, she said issue. You know, and it becomes a problem when it doesn't have to be. And just to let you know what our email addresses are, is real easy. It's our first name dot our last name at killeen.youtube.org. That's it. That's our email addresses. So, you know, if you have a question for the teacher throughout the school year, or the principal, assistant principal, counselor, superintendent, all of the same email address, first name dot last name at killeen.isd.org. And I encourage parents to do more emailing sometimes than verbal talking, because like I said, it becomes a he said, she said issue, and it becomes bigger than it needs to be. And sometimes the that argument starts, because if your voice is raised, the other person is going to raise, and the issue you really came to get solved, it turns into something different. So I encourage a lot of parents to email. And plus, if we're working in school all day and you don't come at the conference time, you come at another time when you just decide to show up, you're not going to get the answer to your question. So also remember, teachers do have conference times. Find out when the conference time is and go up and actually talk to them about your kid. And also, when your children come home and say something, this happened in school today, that happened in school today, don't blow it off. Pay attention. Pay attention to actually what happened, what's going on. And parents, just before we get to Eric, I'm going to tell you, parents ask the worst question in the world. Because we do it as adults. You say, how was your day? And I could say fine. And then you're happy because my day was fine. And you go off and you say nothing happened. Now, let's take that same question and say, how was math? I didn't like it today. How was PE? How was music? How was English? If you pinpoint, how was social study? How was computer class? Then you know what? You're going to get a whole nother answer, because at that point, you're asking him or her some pinpointed questions, and you're going to get some different answers. Because, as an adult, somebody could come home and you could say, hey, how was your day? They'll say, it was all right. And you happily go off when actually they're the worst day ever. But you didn't ask them specifically. Another reason you need to ask that is because if your child is being bullied, that's when you need to find out who gets in trouble in your class every day. Ask why. Ask why. If your kid come along and say, John, he always in trouble. Why is he always in trouble? And where do you sit at when he's in trouble? To make sure, because at this point, that this one kid's in trouble all the time. You need to know what he's doing, how the teacher's reacting to it. You need to know what's really going on in that classroom. You need to focus on that, because that lets you know, first of all, how the teacher reacts to John who's acting up in class. You learn that. You also learn that if John is sitting next to your child, what is your child doing while John's acting up? Because kids mirror other kids. If he gets away with saying something, then your child might decide, you know what, let me try it. And, he might say, I got in trouble and John didn't. So pay attention to what your children are saying. Don't ask, how was your day? Because, we as adults, we're guilty of the same thing. How was your day? And we say, fine, walk off. Ask them pinpointed questions. Ask them about your teacher. Ask them about her attitude. How is she every morning? If she says she's grumpy every morning, you need to pay attention to that, because her grumpiness might turn over to her teaching style. So, parents, I'm just saying, ask the right questions. No longer let your child get away with, or you say, just plain old, how was your day? Because that's the easy, and I'll say it's a lazy question. Yes, I said it. It's a lazy question, because at that point, you really don't want to know how my day was. You really don't. If you did, you'd ask specifically. So that was my soapbox for for the morning and for the rest of the school year. And yes, I can speak from experience, because I'm on both sides of the thing. I have a grandchild in school. I have a grandchild in college. And I also work for the school district. So I'll say it as a balancing act. I am both. So, you can't say, well, she doesn't know. She doesn't know. I have both. I'm on both sides. So that's what I need parents to hear. And now we're going to listen to Eric, because he has a whole lot more to tell us. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. Question, do you think that's good for the parents to ask more strategic questions?
Well, I like the segue that you started with about emailing and creating a digital track.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're going to talk about this morning. So I like that, and I do like asking a lot of questions. I think you should ask questions, but you should document the questions that you ask. Right. And you shouldn't only document the questions you ask, but you should document your child's paper trail as well. That means homework, medical records, anything that you have to exchange with the school, turn in, receive from the school. Create a digital file and date it. Give it a name. Use your telephone, cell phone. We talked about that last week. Snap pictures of it. That way, if you lose it, you can at least reference it and show it to someone in the district or at the school, the middle school, high school, elementary school, and say, this is the paper that I misplaced, or that old one that they used to say that the dog ate, right? So you can take pictures of it with your phone. You can scan it on your scanner at home. You can take it to one of the print shops and have it scanned for maybe 89 cents or something like that. And once you get it at home in your email, assign a name to it and just keep everything in chronological order.
So we got that, parents, right? We know we need to do that.
So you want me to give them a little more on that?
Yes.
Okay. So here are a few tips you can use sort of in sequence for what you can do in terms of digitizing your records. So all parents, before submitting to your instructor, before your child submits an assignment to the instructor or teacher of record, keep a digital file on a standalone hard drive, okay, or your computer, desktop, in an email account, or somewhere, so that in case you forget it, you can easily access it, download it, print it, and forward it to a remote location or to somewhere else. You can forward it to the teacher of record. You can forward it to the phone, your child's phone. Your child can go to the librarian at the school, download it on the computer. Or you could take the assignment, and this is the other side of that. So once the assignment has been given to you, you document it. Once the assignment has been completed, as soon as your child completes that assignment at home, take a picture of it with the phone. Everyone pull out your phones, take a picture, then scan it. Scan that record, send it to your child's email. If the teacher has an email, even if the teacher doesn't accept these assignments, and the teacher may say, don't bombard my email with all of these copies of it, send it anyway, because everyone may not be doing it, and it at least creates a record, or put it in a draft file, so that you're going to send it, you have it there, and if something happens, it's at least in that draft file with the teacher's email address already on it, assigned to it. And if you're at work or whatever, you don't have to worry about, oh, it's on my desktop at home, I can't get it off the work computer, but you can open up your email at work, it's in the draft file, push it, send it directly to the teacher, and there you have the proof that the child completed the assignment. Something else you can do, so that's once the assignment has been graded and returned to you, once you complete the assignment, scan it. Once the assignment has been graded and returned to you, you also want to digitize that record, okay, and scan it. And you can do that again at home, at the school learning laboratory. Perhaps the teacher even has a scanner in the classroom. If it's not too much of a burden for you to drive somewhere and pay for it, take it to a print center or copy center. And, just use your phones wisely, use the digital resources and tools that you have accessible to you wisely, and, make a good, clear string of records that make sure that, again, as we said last week, you have your best school year ever. Make no excuses, excellence only.
Okay. And parents do need to do that, because a lot of times things happen. Kids on the way to school, something happens with their work. If mom has it on a digital file, she could in turn send it to the teacher, because who knows what happened to it on the bus, or who knows what happened to it on the way. So that would be great. That would be great. Now let's move to middle school, because that's a child's biggest drop is not middle school to high school. It's elementary to middle school, because elementary still coddles you a little bit. Middle school goes, no, you need to get that done tomorrow. So can you take a parent to middle school?
Yeah. Middle school is it's a huge transition for a child. It's almost, for a child going from elementary to middle school, it's almost like you're going to high school, when you go from, because it's this world where you're switching classes, you're going from one classroom to another. You have lockers now. You have kids that are, giants to these little kids who are coming into sixth grade, and you have these 7th and 8th graders, and some of those 8th graders are like giants to these 6th graders. So it's, it's kind of like going to school with your parents anyway, because they're looking and they're probably frightened. So you want to make sure, walk your child through that experience of, or the knowledge of, having the knowledge of going to a place where there are going to be people who are older than you, much older, some of them, who may look older than you, but not to be fearful of them, and how to interact with those kids, because these are two completely different groups. That 8th grade group is about to transition to high school, and these 6th graders are just coming out of elementary school, So take the fear factor out of that for your child if they're going from the 5th grade into the 6th grade, by maybe finding events that they can attend, maybe museums or sporting events, things where they can interact with kids who are a little bit older than them, so that they're comfortable with it, and you're not just throwing them into the lion's den, right? And you can find those events by going to your local city parks and rec, right? and registering your child to participate on teams, age group teams, because usually in those age group teams you have a year older. So if your child is in the 5th grade, whichever age group they're in, there's going to be a group of kids there that's a year older, and then some of the other teams and kids that are there who are older than them will be present too, so they get to interact with them, high five, all that kind of thing, or just show develop some sort of support, and that's through your extracurricular activity. So how we can look at that is a way that an extracurricular activity can become something positive, community building, network building, and beyond just win, go get a medal or go get a ribbon, but something that actually helps your child transition into an academic environment and setting where they're comfortable interacting with the kids who are going to be older than them. So now we have that part, right? Okay, so then we talk about the year. Now our school year has already begun. So we remember that the one central place that we cannot forget that we want to go to is going to be our administration building. You should have that address. You need to look it up on the map system that's online. You need to chart where you live to that administration building and figure out where the offices are inside of that building that you need to be in contact with. So who are the contacts? What are their names? What are their phone numbers? And again, what are their email addresses? And build positive relationships with the people in the administration building and with the people who run your child's school. Know who they are. Everyone from the lunch people, the people who feed your child and serve food to them, to the librarian, to the teachers and the custodians. Everyone is important because you never know. Your child may need to contact the custodian to get the locker open quickly because some papers are locked in there once they get to middle school. Things like that happen. You get nervous. You have those locks. Do they still use it? Or you have
they do.
You, to the right, to the left, to
Key
the right.
lock or
Yeah, so you may need someone to cut it off. So building those positive relationships with all the people who work in that environment help your child to have the best experience ever. And that's really what you want to create, because as long as your child is going in with a positive attitude about learning and the learning environment, things turn out much better than they would if the child goes in with anxiety, fear, and trepidation.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask you the big, huge question. Okay, 5th grade. Let's say your son, you have a son. He's in 5th grade. Mm-hmm. He's on honor roll. He's in 6th grade. He might not make the honor roll. So how do you prepare him for the fact that, yeah, you were in the honor roll in the 5th grade. Yes, you were. You were the smartest kid in the whole school. Now you're in middle school. That same mentality can transfer over, yes. But now, instead of having homework, just 5th grade homework, you now have homework for this class, and this class. So how do you get his brain to understand the fact that, yes, he was the smartest kid in the school in elementary, but now your son's in middle school? How do you explain to him that, yes, he could transfer, like I said, that smartness, but he might not be the smartest one. So he's going to be hit.
You prepare for success, not for failure. He'll make the honor roll. We're not going to think he's not going to. He will make the honor roll. So what happens is, but this is a great thing about making the honor roll. Mm-hmm. There's not a set number of A's or B's that are given out. Everyone can make an A. Everyone can make a B. So everyone can make the honor roll, right? So the thing that you want to do is you want to begin to take the different subjects that your child is going to be exposed to in middle school and create your own homeschool or weekend school where you do those subjects. So you can do the life sciences in your yard. You can do the life sciences in the park. You can do botany in the park. You can do biology, dissect worms in the park. You can do English using your online tools. You can edit text. You can edit. The kids now have Snapchat and Instagram, so you can edit tools that the kid is already familiar with and turn them into sort of mini courses in your home, right? Mm-hmm. So we can do our life sciences in the yard and park. We can do our English classes utilizing our cell phones and computers and our social media platforms. We can do mathematics and chemistry at, I don't want to give any free advertisements for food places, but we'll say at food places, right? So when you're looking at the caloric intake or you're estimating how much time it takes from the time you order your food to until you receive your food at the window, how much you're paying per ounce, how much you're paying per calorie for the food in terms of dollars. So there are all sorts of fun games you can do, and that would be like a math game, or you can do chemistry with that. You can do physics games, right? And you can talk about the speed bumps on the road and how fast or how slow your car is going, and how energy is distributed when you hit a speed bump at a certain speed, and then you come up over it and you slam down, or you go slowly over it, which one takes you farther quicker. There are all sorts of things that you can do and expose, and those are things that you could do with the child going from the 5th grade into the 6th grade that are going to help the child once he or she gets to high school.
Right? Also kids can, my granddaughter, she's in middle school. It's her last year in middle school, but we did it with food. How we did it with food is she know that I do this. I'm on this crazy health kick. Not crazy, but yeah, I am. And sometimes I go overboard. But anyway, we were talking one day, and she was looking at a bag of chips. And she knows me and sodium. Well, I don't like salt at all. I don't like the taste of salt. But every now and then I know I have to eat some because your body needs so much salt. But we were looking at a bag of chips, and she was saying how much sodium is in there per how many chips. So she was telling. So what she came away, she says, well, they tell you eat these many chips and this is how much sodium in there. She said, yeah, you don't know how many chips are actually in the bag. So she was going to the mathematics of the serving size, the sodium, what it said per sodium for how many chips versus how many chips in that bag. So we do that as math, because she goes, and so she'll read it. She'll say, you know what, you can only eat so many of these. It's not even worth buying now because you only eat this much and this. So she's already did the mathematics of eating something, and so we use that. And
you can do the small bags.
Yes.
You can do the big bags, and then you can find out if you're getting your money's worth, because sometimes it's better to buy the bag that's not on sale, because you may actually be getting more. If the smaller bags are on sale, the larger bag looks like it costs more. Sometimes you may be getting more out of the larger bag, or it may be the other way around. Yeah. But if you sit there and you do that quick math, and that's something that I grew up doing. We did quick math whenever we went to the grocery store, whenever we went to fast food restaurants, anywhere and anything, because you don't want a cookie that tastes like a ball of dough because you don't know how much flour to put inside of your cookie if y'all decide to do a home cookie baking project to take to school or something where everybody's taking baked goods. So it's important that you pay attention to life opportunities where you can make these mini courses and instructional sort of windows, open them up for your children. Right. Very important. And that's how you can address that transition from 5th grade, 1 or 2 classrooms, to 6th grade, and you're just going down this hallway, up that hallway, and also having, now this is where it becomes important. This is something I really wanted to talk about last week, right? This is where it becomes important to have a blueprint of the school that shows you. They used to have these inside of the books that they gave you, that they hand out with the district, and it tells you where each classroom is, and it has the whole blueprint for the school. And take that one for each child in your household and color in or outline or make some design on the rooms that your child has classes in, and write down the name of that class, and take your maps. You can make a map folder from your house to the entrance of that school. That's where you go. That's where you need to be. You don't need to be on the side of the school, because now this is also the time in life where bad habits develop. A lot of bad habits. The side of the school becomes the place where kids can drink or smoke sometimes, and you want to make sure that your child has what I call a direct path or route to success. So you want to go from your house to the entrance of that school. That's the only place that you enter there, unless there is someone from that school who opens another door for you to come in. And once you walk through that entrance at that school, and you're standing there, where do you go? Do I go right, left, straight? Where's my locker? What do I need to get to? Or am I going to the lunchroom or the breakfast hall so I can eat? But you need to have all of that mapped out. Map your whole day so that you have success. You know what you're doing. walk through the entrance, go through the front door, go to the dining hall, bell rings, go to the dining hall, from the dining hall to my locker if you don't already have your books inside of your backpack, or as some of the older people used to say, in your satchel. So you take it from the dining hall to the locker, from the locker to your first class. Write the time down. How long do I have to get from that first class to the next class once the class releases? You can come out of there and you go to the next class. And that way your parent or guardian knows exactly where you are every minute, second, hour of your learning day. And that relieves a lot of stress for everybody on both sides, because they know my child's in the classroom and the child knows, okay, my parent knows that I'm in the classroom, my guardian knows that I'm in the classroom, and that's important. So if you map that out from the beginning of the day, from when you wake up all the way through the end of the day, when you get back on the bus or you walk home, that's what happens. If you're not going to some extracurricular academic activity, if you're not going to some extracurricular athletic activity, next thing is when I exit, so I put my books up and I have all my assignments, which you should have taken pictures of. If they permit you in your school to use your cell phone, take the pictures of the assignment so that you have them documented. And then once you get to the end of the day, out of the building. And when you get out of the building, go to your bus stop, stand at your bus stop. And if you do that, you eliminate a lot of things in between. You eliminate the opportunity to have conflict with other students because you're hanging around somewhere you shouldn't be. You don't have that meet me out here for this, fight or whatever. You get rid of all of that stuff in between, because you're from point A to point B to point C, all the way to QR success S, right? And then point Z is home. That's what you want to do. Okay. So the bus, walking, if you have a group of friends that you walk with, that your parents know you're walking with, and encourage your friends. So if the kids are listening to this, encourage your friends to get maps to give to their parents, and then map out the way that you walk. Be consistent. This is the route we take from the school to our homes, okay? And this is the person we drop off first as we're walking. This person goes to their home first, and then I'm the last one or whatever. Map it out. It just makes a better and safer experience for everyone involved. And if you have a study hall, let your parent know on that map, on this day or these days, Tuesday and Thursday, we have study hall. Okay. Yeah. So my map looks a little different on those 2 days, because I'll be in this room studying this subject for an hour and 45 minutes. You see, so make a map for success. That's a fun activity. That's a really fun thing that you can do. And you can get those maps usually at the school. They used to have them at the schools where you get the, it's just a piece of paper where they have the outline of the school, right, and to tell you which room is here and whatever like that. And you can write down the name of the teacher or the instructor record for the room. That's a great thing you can do. And it's a fun activity. Parent, child, peers, all of you can make your own maps. And then once each group makes a map, you turn all maps, of course, in to the parents, and then all the friends can have a map, and everyone knows where everyone else is. And you cut down on so many things that could go wrong during the year, because you're accountable for where you are, where your location is at all points in time.
Okay, we're going to take a break, but before we go to break, one question, and then your answer when we come back. How important is a hobby to kids in school? And we'll answer when we come back.